Previously on TVSins.
Here's Johnny.
I've watched every single episode of this show, most more than once, and I'm on my 11th episode of sending these 2 full minutes of opening credits, and I'm just now noticing that each actor's name has the symbol of their character house next to it. My ignorance must be the show's fault in one way or another. Isn't that how this works?
How about that one? It's available.
You don't want Highgarden.
Castle shadowing.
Some at the Iron Bank will be disappointed. They've grown rather fond of your interest payments.
Unless I'm missing some sort of extremely subtle sexual metaphor here, we are now talking about bank interest. Look, I get that this is the stuff that causes some fans to want to touch the throne bone, but if we're going to dock Star Wars for getting caught up in the Senate, we have to offer Game of Thrones the same discourtesy.
Do you know who this belonged to?
No. That very question was what started the War of the Five Kings.
I hope Littlefinger knows what question started the Battle of the Five Armies, because I sure as want to make sure that never happens again.
Chaos is a ladder.
I'm not saying Isaac Hempstead Wright is a terrible actor, but I am saying that he was given the worst storylines and dialogue on this show.
What's that?
Maester Welkin built it for me, so I can move around more easily.
Well, tell the Maester we are all impressed with his ability to combine two such complex ideas as wheels and a chair.
I remember what it felt like to be Brandon Stark.
And we remember what it felt like when you were too. It felt much more, what's the word again? Oh yeah, not wanting to scratch my eyes out every time I hear that monotone voiceable.
The only thing in the kitchen that you put your in is the liver.
Sadly, this might actually make liver taste better.
You're gonna tell her?
I'm not.
Because if you don't, I'm gonna hit you right in the face as hard as I can.
These two have been fighting for the last minute about who's going to tell Sansa that Arya's here, and the Monty Python tone is so different than the rest of the show that I'm just waiting for someone to peek around a corner and say, and now for something completely different.
We were standing right next to her, and
When we turned around, she'd gone, my lady.
These two don't strike me as the type to go straight to Sansa and admit their mistake. They seem much more likely to look the other way, pretend it didn't happen, or hide away and sneak some of that sweet Winterfell kush. Also, wasn't the whole point of their comedy bit fight that one of them had to stay behind and continue to guard the entrance? What changed? Or did they argue for another 5 minutes and then decide both to come anyway?
You shouldn't have run from the guards.
I didn't run. You need better guards.
And the show needs better writing for long-awaited scenes such as this.
It doesn't look like him. Should have been carved by someone who knew his face.
Man, seems like a weird moment for Arya to brag about her new face-changing skills.
Everyone who knew his face is dead.
Fake news! Aside from you two, there's Jon, Bran, Tyrion, Jaime, Cersei, Theon, the Hound. Should I go on?
Your list.
Of people I'm going to kill.
Scenes like this make me realize that characters smile or laugh so little on this show that when they do, those somehow become the most uncomfortable moments. I'm pretty sure Dragon's char-grilling the Sisters Grimm here would be more joyful than this exchange.
How did you get back to Winterfell?
It's a long story. I imagine yours is too.
Pause so every viewer can sigh and nod their head in agreement.
Why would a cutthroat have a Valyrian steel dagger?
It's always fun to watch a show where the characters are 6 seasons behind the viewers so we can have extremely pointless exchanges such as this instead of moving the story forward.
Are you sure? It's Valyrian steel.
It's wasted on a cripple.
Shame on the Game of Thrones era dagger makers for not being ADA compliant. Damn it, Thrones! Every time I start to get sick of your nonsense, you pull out some incredible moment where Bran gives Arya the weapon she needs to save his life, in the exact place she will eventually use it. And keep it so subtle, it only becomes evident in hindsight. Combine that with actually showing the hand switch move later in the episode, and I have no choice. Take your sins off as the spoils of your foreshadowing. Man, Sansa really does need some new guards. Now they're not even at their post.
Well, this is it. All we'll ever need.
Not trying to downplay Jon's dragonglass knowledge, but how could he possibly know this is all they'll ever need?
The children of the forest made these.
When?
A very long time ago.
And now Jon is a cave drawing expert?
They were here together, the children and the first men.
And together they built an empire on the manufacturing of family stickers for the back of your minivan.
And you say you can't defeat them without my armies and my dragons.
Good thing the children of the corn forest, or whatever the hell they are called, decided to cave's position all over these walls then, huh?
But if you use them to melt castles and burn cities, you're not different.
What a beautiful relationship and such great advice. With all the pain the show has put us through, at least these two will never have anything come between them, and the Mother of Dragons will remain sane and heroic throughout the rest of the series.
He didn't beat the Hound. You did.
Did she, Arya? Did she?
I think she has a good heart.
A good heart? I've noticed you staring at a good heart.
It's great that Jon can see the good in people. That might be his greatest... Oh, he's talking about boobs, isn't he?
We don't have marriage in Narth, so the concept of a bastard doesn't exist.
Yeah, but you were kidnapped young and lived most of your life in Essos. Yet somehow you can't remember what a bastard is? Oh, that forgetful Miss Sandy. She'd forget her head if it wasn't attached to her shoulders.
Is that a Greyjoy ship?
As long as it's not Theon. It's Theon, isn't it? Damn it!
We thought you were dead.
I should be.
Damn, Skippy!
All the gold safely through the gates at King's Landing.
That was fast. Weren't they in Highgarden like 20 minutes ago? According to an unofficial map I read on the internet, that's like 760 miles away. We've basically confirmed teleportation at this point, right?
With your permission, flogging stragglers has a marked effect on mobility.
Let's give them fair warning first.
These two sound like parents arguing about whether or not they should spank their children. Of all the topics I thought Game of Thrones might address, I can assure you this was not one of them.
So Jamie, break on. Dick on.
I'm not saying this didn't make me chuckle, but I am saying this exchange would feel more at home in an Austin Powers movie than an episode of Game of Thrones.
We can hold them off.
Awesome! With that being said, sending your dragon in with the Dothraki charge, what a novel idea. Can't imagine it being done any other way now that we've seen how well it works. Damn, this scene is just the baddest badass of all the asses. Honestly, whoever storyboarded this scene deserves all the credit. In fact, I'm sending the show for not flashing their name in big bold letters through the entire scene. I get that Daenerys is immune to the flames, but how are the Dothraki and the horses?
Knock! Knock!
Who's there? Dick on Ex Machina. Also, Dick on Ex Machina was the name I gave my penis when my college girlfriend refused to name it. She dumped me shortly thereafter because, and I quote, I lacked creativity. Every single other card is full-on blazing, but the one housing the Scorpion was thankfully made out of fireproof wood and tarp. So if these arms weren't out yet, how did he shoot that unlucky Dothraki soldier before he opened it up? Jeez, how deep are the Westeros lakes right by the banks? 30, 40 feet? Does that seem right?
It's just so magical to me to come from the north, where it's cold, to the south, where it's warm.
I imagine you've seen things most men wouldn't believe.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
However long my list got, he was always first.
I'd like to talk to you about your list. I didn't tell you because the dead pool is just a harmless game. Sounds pretty sick to me.
Ah, you gotta be f***ing kidding me.
Smile, you son of a...
This is the end.